Ready to do this? Good, man.
What do you want to talk about?
Yo, we're at InfoComm 2025, and I'm with my good friend Jeremy.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I call him now, he's Mr. TriCaster. The TriCaster King is here in person.
I'm all over everywhere.
Man, I follow you on social media, man. You're like somewhere. Every single day you're flying somewhere.
Either flying or driving, yes. At least this trip, I was able to pack the car and just drive down. So.
And you brought your son.
Yes, which I don't know where he went. He's around here somewhere. But yes, I brought my son down. My back is shot. I need a body for an intern to help load gear. So that's why Harry's with me.
I don't miss those days. When there's in between years when I was a project manager working for these different companies, I was like, the trade shows were great, but man, the work to get all this stuff in is just so much work.
Yes, it is. And we're in multiple locations. Again, not just with the TriCaster stuff, but also with NDI, with other partnerships. We're all over the show floor.
All over. I've seen you all over. It's crazy.
It is.
So we're looking at the high-end TriCaster Flex Dual here.
Correct.
So this is broadcast, TV, high-end church services, house of worship.
Corporate, yeah, every vertical market. With the Flex Dual, we can talk to any TriCaster in the product line. So I have the flagship TriCaster Vision down here in the closet, or in the rack, whatever you want to call it. 44 inputs.
Yeah.
The Flex Dual allows for control of this up to 24 cross points in one location, but I can bounce back and forth because I'm on the NDI network.
Wow.
So I can talk to a TC1, I can talk to other locations. We can decentralize your entire production with our control panels now. So yes, this is being the big one. I can service any TriCaster that I want to, but with the NDI capability, we can even go smaller. We can have dual operators.
Yeah.
I could have two panels talking to the same TriCaster. I could have redundancy. I could have failover. I could have an in-service application as well as the full broadcast or dual-lingual services. We've done that with a couple churches where they've set up two completely different broadcasts for two completely different outputs off the same single TriCaster.
That's awesome. And that's what I've loved about you guys. Were on the forefront always with NDI. Company brought forth NDI. I mean, it's been an amazing process, but that's what I always like, because anytime I've had someone to call me consultant and say, hey, can you set something up? I always prefer TriCaster first, because that's comes to mind, NDI, TriCaster. And I love the fact that, in the high-end situations, you could create, a huge podcast studio, have multiple rooms, and have one control bay, and the system's talking to each other. So, I mean, the workflow is absolutely amazing. That's what I've always loved about it. The possibilities, there's nothing that I never thought of that a TriCaster couldn't already do. So I just love the product.
It's overbuilt on purpose. And then that gives that flexibility and scalability that every single production is going to be different every single time.
Yeah.
We have the tool set, we have the adaptability built in. Whatever you want to come up with, we can kind of get you there.
Yeah.
There's about 5,000 right ways of doing something with a TriCaster. There's about 4 wrong, and we kind of go through that with training.
Yeah.
But whatever you want to come up with as an operator, we give you that tool set. This might be intimidating from an operator's perspective.
Right.
That's fine. I can simplify the user interface and run it on an iPad.
Yeah.
We can run the TriCaster in the cloud. We can do a lot of failover redundancy, macros, automation. I can control other devices. Other devices can control us.
Now, I know you mentioned that. You said TriCaster in cloud. It's not here, but explain that a little bit for people that are just like, wow, what's the TriCaster in the cloud?
So we've got 2 different variations of that. So we have the same thing with Vision in the cloud on an AWS instance. It's called Vectar.
Okay.
So Vectar is a 44 input TriCaster, just like the Vision is. Vision is on-prem, Vectar is in the cloud, but that's running on your AWS instance. So that's mainly for the high-end corporate, some of the broadcasters, they're doing that because they already have the AWS service built in.
Yeah.
But then we also have what's called TriCaster Now.
Okay.
So that is running on our AWS instance, what I call the TRY caster. You have a $65 discovery pass, so you get it for a month, play around with it. It's an 8-input TriCaster. It's like a TriCaster Mini 4K.
Yeah.
So it's software parity in that realm. But now I can launch a TriCaster from wherever, because I'm on a laptop, I'm on my desktop computer.
Yeah.
I bring down NDI sources. We can utilize NDI Bridge. So now you can deal with what the experience would be of TriCaster in the cloud on a larger scale and a simplified, easier to use operation.
And when typically with a smaller scale, what are we talking about? Are we talking about smaller churches? Is there podcasters using that you're familiar with?
Yes, especially from the creative side of it. Podcasters, independent operators inside of a corporate environment maybe. They may have different divisions of corporate AV, running guns, they're flying all over creation. C-suite execs are doing something differently at their home versus what they're doing in the office.
Yeah.
Having the AWS instance to spin up whenever I need it, wherever I need it, gives me a lot of flexibility without having to lug around a lot of gear.
And TriCaster Now, right?
Right.
So TriCaster now, you said it's $65 trial, and then on that, what's the
There's
subscription
some
of that?
packages on top of that. Also, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say hidden costs, but going from ground to cloud, pretty economical. Coming back down, that's where the costs really go into play. So we have packages with different credits assigned to that.
Okay.
So if you're doing a lot of download of that content, or you're sending it back down for other redistribution purposes, that'll eat up some of the credits. So we kind of walk through what your operation is going to look like, what are you trying to do. When you get it up, then that's fine. Especially with being NDI in the AWS marketplace, I can move content across AWS very, very effectively from a lot of different locations. But if I'm sending, like, say, a camera from one location to another, or I've got content being played back, it's a lot easier going that way. So we walk through the process, and then you build out your plan accordingly. How many hours a month are you going to use it? How much storage do you need? What frame rate and resolution are you going to do your production in? Because all that matters.
Right. And so if you're interested in TriCaster now, I'll link down below from their site a review that you guys do. You guys do those reviews of your products. So I'll link that down below if you're interested about that. But this is, thanks for taking time with the TriCaster Flex Dual. Man, if I had...
There's one other thing I want to cook your noodle with.
Go for it.
So we talked about the cloud, TriCaster in the cloud. What's your thoughts on TriCaster as software to run it on your machine?
I like the idea. Tell me more. Tell me more.
That's the TriCaster Mini S.
Wow.
So now we can load it on a laptop, on a small form factor PC. So again, it's an ATEM TriCaster, but it's software only. So you can install that on certified hardware, and we give it a list on the website. There's several different places you can source that from, or kind of build your own.
Yeah.
The other cool thing about that is we've got a lot of stuff in the pipeline when it comes to capture cards. How we're going to convert signals into, because right now it's NDI only, so we're kind of slow walking the process.
Yeah.
So we'll have some HDMI, we'll have some additional SDI, some other types of inputs that you can get into that TriCaster Mini S. So where TC now is in the cloud, I spin this up, I do whatever I want to, however I want to.
Yeah.
But if I want something a little more on-prem but more portable, then we have TriCaster Mini S.
I like that. Now, what's the price point on that?
I knew you were going to ask me that, but yeah, off the top of my head, I kind of forget. So
well,
yeah,
I'll do a link down below and let you know.
You can go to the website. There is a free trial that you can download and see if it works. Because we also, the other big thing is the certified hardware matters.
Yeah.
We want a positive end user experience. So the installer will say, okay, this machine it won't run on.
Right.
We don't want you to install it and then it break and not work, and then you call us complaint. It's like, hey, it's garbage. No, we want to make sure it's going to run on qualified hardware. So that way, day one, you have a good, beautiful TriCaster Mini S running on the machine that you picked of your choice.
And where was this 10 years ago? You could have done this 10 years ago. I still have a TriCaster Mini sitting in the studio.
10 years ago, yeah.
Still sitting there, you know? And it's just like, you know.
Well, we got to talk about trading credits.
We do that.
You can trade up, yeah, from an older system to a new one. So that's a good takeaway. We always offer trade-in assistance. So if you have an older system that you want to get onto a newer platform, there is some value in that box that you still have.
You have a welfare program, welfare, where if you trade up, you just go ahead and just like, you know, I can give you the stamps for it, and it's even.
No, I don't. No, I can't address that.
All right, I tried.
You tried.
I tried to get a steak dinner for free, but the food stamps won't let me get steak.
I get you some Reese's cups and some mints. I mean, that's what I got right now.
And by the way, when I came up to the booth, this bowl was empty, and he saw the pear-shaped body. It's like, oh, Jeff Adams is coming, so I better stack up the Reese's. And he's got bad breath, so I'm gonna put the mints in there.
They're orange mints, though. They're a huge hit. Again, orange color. You know, the VizRT stuff. We're going with that. So the Reese's and the orange mints are really good.
I got the idea, Jeremy. Here we go. Bad breath. Thanks, Jeremy, for hanging out. Thanks for getting us in here. By the way,
yeah, my pleasure.
Appreciate it. And it's a blessing, man. And congrats to the success.
And 20 years of TriCaster.
20 years of the TriCaster, the one and only. When we were broadcasting back in the day in 2010, doing these online shows, that was the thing to have, was a TriCaster. Do you have a TriCaster? I'm running a TriCaster. The best. My favorite switch of all time, and it will always be a TriCaster. I don't care who comes at me. I'm telling you, I always go back to the TriCaster every single time. If I'm building something, it's a TriCaster. Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it,
brother. Good seeing you.
When Jeff is buying the prime ribs frying